I'm in school and I have a problem. They've told me that in times of trouble, I should confide in a responsible adult who I can trust. Only, I can't trust any of the adults in my life, so I'm turning to the internet in hopes that someone can solve my problem, or at least point me in the right direction. It started during your typical school day. I watched the other kids making new friends and saying hello to their old friends, while I got shoved into lockers and called derogatory names. During recess, some particularly violent kids wanted to cut words into my arm with a penknife, so I ran for all I was worth and attracted the attention of my gym teacher, who said I should try out for the track team. My parents would never notice if I was out late because my dad is constantly on business trips and my mom is always stoned. So I made the track team, and that was that. Practice was daily after school. I was too scared to shower with the other kids on the team because they constantly mocked my naked figure, so I actually walked home sweaty and disgusting, and showered in the privacy of my parents' bathroom that always smelled like weed. One day though, all the particularly horrible kids were sick, so I showered at school for a change. I took my time and relaxed. And then I remembered that I'd forgotten my math books in my locker. The usual route to my locker was blocked off by the cleaners, so I took the long way and heard a conversation you don't want to ever hear at your school. Your parents will never know. Now take off your shirt. The teacher was addressing a girl who was crying. If you don't take off your shirt, I have no choice but to fail you, and you don't want that. I peeked through the door's window and saw 3 teachers holding scalpels toward a girl I'd never seen before. "It won't hurt if you hold still," said one of the teachers. I considered opening the door to stop them, but I knew I stood no chance against 3 adults. So I pulled the fire alarm with my shirt over my hand to hide my fingerprints, and hid in an empty locker, watching to make sure the 3 teachers and the girl all left the classroom. "Find whoever pulled the fire alarm," one of the teachers ordered. The teachers ran right past me. I thought they would hear the thick vibrations of my beating heart, but they didn't, and the girl ran outside to safety. Once I could guarantee the teachers' locations, based on where I heard them running to, I ran home. I wanted to phone the police, but I had no useful information for them. I couldn't get a good view of any of the teachers, and I didn't know the name of the girl they had tried to violate. Mom was stoned while watching cartoons, while my dad was in another continent. The next day, I looked for the violated girl, but couldn't see her. I tried to recognize the teachers, but they moved too fast for me to get a good look, and none of my regular teachers fit the profiles of who I had seen last night. Maybe it would happen again tonight. Against my personal safety, I showered at school after track practice and was ridiculed by the rest of the team, but I couldn't concentrate on their mockery, so they made me drink toilet water, which meant I had to shower twice, which meant I was alone in school again. I walked the same route to my locker as last time, passing the same room, only there was nothing this time. Maybe they'd been spooked yesterday and were thinking twice about their life choices. I had to go to my locker anyway to get my sweater, and heard a scream from another classroom. I peeked through the window and saw 3 teachers with the same girl. Only this time, they had cut open her stomach while she was awake and hooked up to weird machines. "You'll cooperate this time," said one of the teachers. The girl cried in and out of loud, panicked gasping. One of the other teachers saw me this time through the window, so I ran for my life around the nearest corner and pulled the fire alarm again, with my shirt over my hand, and hid in the rubbish bin as two teachers ran past me again. "We aren't leaving until we find who pulled the fire alarm," said one of the teachers, whose voice I couldn't identify. "What about the girl?" asked the other teacher. I didn't hear the answer, but I did hear them leave. I exited the waste and ran for the nearest exit, only to find it locked. Something freaky was going on, and I had no time to run around the school like a hamster in a maze looking for open doors. So I took a nearby fire extinguisher and, with my shirt covering my hands, smashed the door window and ran like hell. Track practice and the adrenaline had worn me down, so I hid in a tree rather than risk running on the open streets where I could be seen by the teachers who were patrolling the outside of the school as the fire truck showed up. "Everything all right?" I could hear a fireman asking a teacher. "No," said the teacher. "Someone saw us." "Do you know who?" asked the fireman. "No," said the teacher, "but I'm pretty sure it was a pupil, because all the teachers here are tall enough to look through the doors without having to jump or stand on their tiptoes." "But why would a pupil be here so late?" asked another teacher. "The track team stays after school for practice," said another teacher. "Maybe it was one of them. We'll get the names of all the members who were at the practice today and yesterday." Nearly all the track kids were sick yesterday, so I would be questioned for sure. What was I supposed to do? Neither the teachers nor the firemen had left the school, probably waiting for me to make myself visible to them. I had to wait for nightfall until it was dark enough for me to descend my tree, escape through the nearby hedge, and return home at midnight. This time, my mother was mad. "I've just gotten off the phone with the police. Where the hell were you?" I wanted to tell her what happened, but I broke down and cried instead, terrified of what lay in store for me tomorrow. Mother hugged me and phoned the police again to tell them I'd returned safely, though that was a lie. I wasn't safe. Phoning the police sounds like a sensible thing to do, but I'm just a kid, so why would anyone believe that I'd witnessed 3 teachers performing stomach surgery on a girl without using anesthetic, or that the firemen seemed to be in on it? Skipping school and running away seemed like the best choice for my safety, but I, and I alone, knew that there was a girl being tortured or something, and if I were in her shoes, I'd want someone to save me. When I showered in the morning, I noticed that I'd cut myself on the glass door during my escape. Maybe no one would notice. "Come with me," said the principal the moment I stepped off the morning bus. The principal made me sit alone in the waiting room while my heart palpitated and I came close to fainting. Did the principal know about the 3 teachers? Should I say what I saw? What if the principal was in on it? But then again, what if the principal could help the girl? I watched the clock for an hour. Was the secretary watching me the whole time? How are you supposed to look when you're not suspicious? I walked around and looked at books to make myself less bored. "Sit down and don't make any noise," said the secretary. Another hour later, the principal returned and led me to the principal's office, where I was told to sit in an old wooden chair. The 3 teachers who had tortured the girl stood behind the principal and stared at me. "We're sorry to make you wait so long," said the principal, sitting in a magnificent comfy chair. "I had things to deal with. I suppose you're wondering why you're here." "It beats being in class," I joked, trying to sound nonchalant. But it was also really boring, Is everything okay?" "No," said the principal, matter-of-factly. "Someone broke a door window with a fire extinguisher and pulled the fire alarm yesterday." "When?" I asked. "After school," said the principal. "And you're on the track team, which stays late to practice." "I didn't see anything, if that's what you're wondering," I lied. "After practice, I showered and left." "Have you already asked the rest of the team?" "Did you go home right away?" asked the principal, ignoring my question about the rest of the team. "Yes," I lied. The three teachers exchanged glances and said nothing. The principal leaned towards me and said, "You're lying. Your mother filed a missing persons report yesterday because you hadn't come home. So where were you really?" The teachers leaned towards me as well. "Well," I said, and I scrambled to think of what I could say. "I'll tell you, but only if they leave." The principal looked at the teachers, who nodded and left. So now I was left alone with the principal. Could he be trusted? The teachers were witnesses to the pulled fire alarm last night, so it made sense for them to be here this morning. The fact that the principal had police information on me was highly suspect, though. For the moment, I denied trust and had to think of an amazing lie. "Well," I said, "the other kids are really mean to me, so—" "So what?" asked the principal. "So—" I stalled until I thought of a plausible lie. "I tried to kill myself." "What?" The principal was genuinely alarmed. "Here's where I tried," I said, pointing to where the glass had cut me during yesterday's escape. "I used glass shards from a broken Coke bottle." "This is very serious," said the principal. "Please don't tell anyone," I begged. "I just get so sad sometimes, and I don't want the kids to know that their teasing really gets to me." "I can't ignore this," said the principal. "I have to phone your parents, and you'll need to see the school nurse to discuss what to do next. I'll tell the coach that you'll be absent from practice today, and we'll meet with the nurse right away." I had come up with a rock-solid alibi, but now there was no way I would be without adult supervision, meaning I had no way to check up on the tortured girl and see the three sadistic teachers. "Wait," I pleaded, scrambling for another lie. "Track is the only thing in my life that makes me happy. Please don't make me miss track." The principal appeared skeptical, but said, "Okay," in the interest of professionalism. So my mom came in, and we sat with a school nurse to discuss psychiatric treatment for my suicidal tendencies, and did nonsense picture worksheets and how I could best deal with my problems and emotions. I was excused from class for the day, but track practice was cancelled because most of the track team was away again. It seemed weird that they would be away again, but since I'd missed class, I didn't know what the reason was. I had no reasonable excuse whatsoever to be at school after hours. "Come on, darling," said Mom. "Let's go to the movies, and then we'll have some pizza." "Hold on, Mom. I better grab my history book so I can study." "I'm coming with you," said Mom. "You can't," I lied. "Give me one good reason why not," she said. She thought her child was suicidal, so her behavior was sadly validated. "What if the other kids laugh at me?" I said. Mother started to cry and said, "Please come back," and didn't hug me in case the other kids saw. I felt really bad for lying to Mom when she was clearly worried about me, but I needed to at least check one more time for anything fishy that might be going on at the moment. School was in session, and it wasn't even lunchtime yet, so I don't know what I expected to find. But then I saw her, the tortured girl. She was walking to the school's bathroom by herself.